Okay. Number 22 says, what is the standard form of this equation? And so first thing we should know is, it's always good to figure out what conic section this is. And we see there's a plus sign between the squares. We can ignore the rest right now. And so that's either a circle or ellipse. And since they're different coefficients, that's a 3, that's a 1, it's an ellipse. Then we look through these problems and I see, well, this one has a minus sign, and that has a minus sign. Those are hyperbolas. So it cannot be A, cannot be B. So even if we mess up on our calculations, we can figure out which of these is going to be our solution. Because it has to be an ellipse, which of these are both equations of ellipse. So the way we do this, though, if you remember, is first we want to group the x's and y's. Then we need to factor out so that way it's just the x squared or just the y squared as the lead, with a 1 coefficient. And then we can do our completing the square. And if we can do the completing the square, then basically we make it equal to 1 and get our answer. So let's go ahead and go through that process. The first thing I'm going to do is group the x's and y's. So my x's, I have 3x squared, I have minus 24x. Then I'm going to get my y's. So that's y squared minus 10y. And we're going to move that 70 to the other side. And so there we go. The x's are grouped, the y's are grouped. Now what I mean by factor is, remember, we need a leading coefficient of 1. So the y is okay. The x, we need to take out that 3. So I pull that in front. And if I divide it by 3, and this also divide by 3, we get negative 8. And now the last step is the completing the square. And let's see. So I want to fill in this box here. Right, plus box and plus box. And let's see, what goes in here? We divide by 2. So we take the b term, the middle term, divide it by 2, and then whatever we get, we square it. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Now what do I add to the other side, though? We have to be very careful because here, well, we added 25 and there's nothing being distributed to it. So yes, we do plus 25. But here, I didn't just add a 16, I added a 16 times the 3 that distributes into this parentheses. So 16 times 3 is actually 48. So that's what I need to add. So if I add negative 70 plus 25 plus 48, well, that's the same thing as negative 70 plus 73, which is equal to 3. So here I get 3. These factor now to x minus the square root of that is 4. Right? That's the whole reason I'm using completing the squares, to make it something squared. Square root of that is x, square root of that is 4. Square root of y is y, square root of 25 is 5, and it's a minus sign. Is equal to 3. And our last step is just divide by 3. And this one cancels out. So we get our final answer of x minus 4 squared plus y minus 5 squared over 3 is equal to 1, which is D.